Took my family away from my Carolina home. Had dreams about the West and started to roam. 6 long months on a dust-covered trail. They say heaven's at the end, but so far it's been hell. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. We were digging and shifting 5 to 5, selling everything we found just to stay alive. Gold flowed free like the whiskey in the bars. Sinning was the big thing, Lord, and Satan was a star. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. Dance hall girls were the evening treat. Empty cartridges and blood lined the streets. Men were shot down for the sake of having fun, or just to hear the noise of their 44 guns. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. Now my widow, she weeps by my grave. Tears flow free for her man she couldn't save. Shot down in cold blood by a gun that carried fame, all for the useless and no good, worthless claim. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. Waiting for me there. Waiting for me there.
I forgot it's that stupid button again, but since it's up, if you're not yet a subscriber, hit that button and ring the bell. Hey, YouTubers and friends, how you doing tonight? We have the crew of the Wild Ranger with us. We have Vernon, Gary, our friend from New England, Bryan, but we'll get right to the show and quit messing around and get right to the meat of it all. So don't go away. Hey, YouTubers and friends, thanks for joining us for another episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live with ToledoJess, Dano, the Treasure Vixens, and I.
Dano. You have YouTuber on, Vern. Mute YouTube.
Oh, look, we made a buck already.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Hey, hello, everybody. I think we're live.
Oh, he just jumped us in again.
Actually, we've been live for a little while.
He's very sneaky.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, I started doing that with you guys because you would be yelling in my ear and saying all kinds of stuff like Dano balls and this and that,
Well,
getting
you know,
me to crack up before
It's the
I
season.
go live. So,
it's the season for balls.
well, Dano balls are world famous now.
Everyone wants a dozen of them.
Everybody wants a dozen of them. Come in sacks of 2.
For yourself, there.
Oh, they're
You
delicious.
know, Dano balls are just Christmas treats. They're cookies.
Yeah, so tonight we got some
Buckeye balls.
our special guest, Bryan Wilder, from Massachusetts. Are you from Massachusetts or Maine?
He's
I'm
a
from
masshole through and
asshole,
through.
okay.
He's a masshole.
Asshole.
And then we got Gary Simpson from the Wild Ranger and the captain of the Wild Ranger, the one and only Vernon Adkinson. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good.
Great.
Doing well. Doing well.
Good. So give us a second while we say hello to our cat here, because they're really important to us. I mean, they really are important to us. You know, and if you're watching, if you guys are watching on YouTube and you see some of your friends on there, shout them out.
Shout them out.
Yeah. I see Kep Valley Diggers. How are you? That's a new name.
Oh, he's been around. He's been around.
Bowls and more. Yeah. Richard Davis.
Girl, there she is. She never misses one.
No. 3 Nuggeteers. Oh man, there's just North Jersey.
Hey, Risa. There he is.
Go ahead,
One and
Brian.
only.
We even have Bob Drake, or I mean,
There's Ray Russo.
Bob McCoy in here
Yeah,
tonight.
I see Bob there.
Right on.
Yeah. Roger James, how are you? Oh, another.
Oh, Ryan's here
Ryan
too.
here. What's up, Ryan?
Vendetta, thanks for the other super chat. Appreciate it.
Jesse even called in.
Yeah. RST, what's up tonight, buddy?
Good to see you, Ryan.
Mark Miller, Ottis, what's up, Ottis?
Ottis, there's a
Ottis.
package coming your way, brother.
All right.
Hey, Mr.
Hey,
Gold,
look
Jim.
there. Ryan, what's up?
Benzo's here. What's up, Benzo?
Oh, and you know what? Tonight, Ert was in early.
That he was. Well, yeah. He wasn't in before we went live, but he definitely got in there once we started rolling live. I know
No,
that.
he was in before 8 o'clock. I saw
Oh,
him
he
in there.
was? Congratulations,
Yes,
Ert.
sir.
Yeah, it's a good time. You'll get a brownie point for that, buddy.
You
Yeah.
get a free Dano ball.
But only one.
Yeah, one Dano ball, so make it
Super
last.
chat for the other one.
A Uniball.
Vernon, don't mind us. Daniel's balls have traveled the country, have been in the mouths of many a prospector, and they're just loved the world over. So maybe you'll get lucky and get one yourself.
Me too.
I can hardly wait.
You just never know. Dano Claus works in mysterious ways.
That's Brian, you've had his balls, right?
They're
Oh, yeah,
peanut
they're
butter
delicious.
and chocolate. They look like a Buckeye, and they're delicious.
AKA Buckeye.
They're better
Buckeye.
than my Reese's peanut butter cups,
Yeah, it's like a Reese's peanut butter cup ball.
but
They're
better. But
Made
better.
with love.
And I think he infused some with some booze this year.
Ooh,
Ooh.
nice.
You guys are talking about like food, right?
Yeah.
Food, candy, sweets.
Here or not?
We're not talking about his dinglers.
Okay, good. Man,
No.
You know what Buckeyes are, right?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the Buckeyes.
It's a peanut butter ball dipped in chocolate.
Right.
Yeah.
Them boys out west like to call them Dano balls, so we went with it.
At least the guys on the Yuba River do, you know.
Yeah.
Dano balls with a Z.
They go to Vermont.
Oh.
They go to Maine. They go to California. They go to Washington and Oregon.
Right.
Someday in a town near you.
Hi, Rose. Rose wants to know what kind of booze, Daniel.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to figure that one out.
Yeah,
Okay. You'll have to guess, Rose. You'll have to guess. We have a friend who had surgery. You
Yes,
want
we
to
do.
talk about Raven?
Raven, our friend Raven and Smackarock.
Yep, good old Skipper Rock.
Skipper Rock, Black Rock.
I'm kidding. He knows I am.
Yeah, she was in surgery here last month, which is why we haven't seen her in the chat room for about a month. I think last week was the first time. She's okay. She's healing. She's doing well. Just keep in her thoughts and prayers, and I'm sure she'll be her moody self, the child.
Well, I hope she has a speedy recovery.
She will, and you know she's a witch, so.
Well, that's between her and whoever. So
yeah, right.
It ain't my job to judge. So.
I wasn't judging.
No, I didn't say that. Sure, you say some of the things I do is witches, like my pendulum and my witch sticks.
Right.
Yeah, one too, but we won't talk about that.
That's the devil's doing.
But she wasn't on the devil's side, though. It's just
No. Well, my sister-in-law, my wife's older sister, was a witch, a Wiccan. You know, so she was cool. Everybody's strange.
To each their own.
Anyways, we're not here to talk about that.
No. Politics nor religion.
No, right. No politics, no religion.
We're
politics.
That's a bummer. I was going to wear my Trump hat, but.
Oh, you could have wore it, but that's up to you. I have no problem with it. We just don't talk about that here. We talk about things like treasure hunting, gold.
Yeah, that's what we love to do.
Yeah. How long you been with Vern, Gary?
I started last winter with him. Done the winter season, and since then I've been with him. So I did the entire winter season and then the entire summer this season.
Oh, that's cool. So what did you do before? Were you a miner?
Oh yeah, miner. Yeah, pretty much. I've been doing it since I've been 10 years old.
Oh yeah, what kind of mining?
Placer. Doing placer up in California. We there's laws against it, but we still mine up here. We get back so far in there that we're we're pretty much off the grid. We're way down in there. We don't have to worry about the forestry or anything coming in there. I mean, and to be honest, they probably know we're in there, but there ain't no way they're coming down there to get us out of there. It's just it would cost them more than a $2,000 fine to send people, in there to ticket us. So they just leave us alone, basically. Where we're at, we've seen in the last 30 years, we've seen probably maybe 5 people come down in there. So yeah. We ourselves just got back from California. We had some friends host us out there while we were there, and just to get back to where we were at, that's a lot of work. I mean, and I'm sure we were nowhere deep into the canyons as you probably go.
We're flatlanders, Jesse. We're flatlanders, dude.
We're so far back in there that but years ago we literally cut ATV trails in there by hand. About 3 miles over the mountain. But we've done a lot. I mean, we're like I said, we're so far in there. There ain't nobody comes back in there.
Right. Yeah, we were
even walk down in there, let alone carry equipment in there. I don't know what the hell.
David Villa wants to know. He's from the Big Valley, just like you, Gary. He wants to know when he gets his hush money.
Yeah, really, huh?
You know what they say, David. Snitches don't end up with stitches; they end up in ditches.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not even worried about it. I'm not going to tell you where it's at but I'm not even worried about it. Like I said, it's so far in there that there's nobody crazy enough to go in there except for us. And I mean, I think we're pretty loony to places.
Oh, you don't know our friend Gary Two Toes.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, you might though. You might.
Why do they call him Two Toes?
Because he's an old billy goat and
Um,
he puts young
can't
kids
keep
like
up with
Jesse to shame.
yeah, there's younger kids that have a hard time keeping up with this old man.
Well, see, the thing about California is it's been worked so hard that you've really got to go to these places that's so remote. You know what I mean? And you know, a lot of mine, even though they might say it nowadays, they don't really take it to the extreme like we do. But that's why we've had such good luck, is because we're not worried about, you know, doing the work to get in there.
Well,
Right.
the same true now more than ever than as it was before. The better gold is where it's harder to get to in the gold country.
Definitely. And when you're mining in California, you need to go to those places. So
Well, you know where Gary took us. All together combined, we got 1.25 ounces that day metal detecting.
Yeah, where Gary took it.
Yeah, all detecting and cracks.
Yep.
Yep.
Tell them some of the big ones you got there, Gary.
Well, we've got some really nice ones. I mean, I've got pictures. I don't know if I can send them, but yeah, we found actually me, my brother, and my dad all found 3-ounce nuggets before on this.
Man.
And then everything we found is usually, you know, a gram and up. I mean, there's no fine gold on it because the water is rushing so fast, but everything we found is a gram and up. And most of it we find in quartz veins. It runs across the river. It's, you know, it's just jagged. It's not that gold has an attraction to quartz. It's just the quartz is really jagged, and that's where it ends up. So when we're dredging up the river, you know, when we see a quartz vein coming across from the bank into the river, we pretty much know, you know, that's where, you know, we're going to be finding gold. So that's something for us to look forward to.
So
out of about 300 ounces of nuggets, we've only found probably, I don't know, maybe an ounce of fine gold.
Yeah, mostly nuggets. Yeah.
Well,
And,
For us here in Ohio, you know, we're in Ohio, and that's all we find is fine gold.
It's fine gold, yeah. The occasional
I
flake.
I
and a
found
small
3
picker.
pickers today in Ohio, or this year in Ohio.
Well,
But my biggest gold was on the Klamath River.
well, we know we can find pickers here, but the majority of what we find here is fine gold.
Fly
So
poop,
we prospect
gnat poo.
for that. You know,
I
so
know. I just feel argumentative with you, Jesse.
what else is new, man? That's nothing new.
Ed was a female in his previous life. He likes to
He
No.
was.
me and Bryan know about all that fine gold, man. We found a lot of fine gold in there, you know.
Well, as you can imagine, I do follow Bryan. He's a friend of ours. We've prospected together and hung out and stuff. So yeah, I was following his videos, and Vern, you're throwing a lot of gold away there, dude. It may not seem like a lot to you, but to us, that's a lot of gold, dude. You know,
Fine gold, I'll just throw it back in the river. I don't even care. You know, I'll just
right,
mix up.
right.
Brian, it all adds up. It all
Right, it
adds
all
up.
adds up.
They can't always be those nuggets you find in Maine.
Right. I got a question for Vern from Allen's Gold Mining. You found gold on the Yukon River. Ever thought about going back to mine it?
No. answer is no. The main river, down where we were, I mean, in some places it's a mile wide. There's gold there, but it's mixed in with a lot of dirt. You got to get up in the creeks, and I know there's, especially around the village of Ruby, there's a creek that flows into the river there, and up that creek. In days past, it was one of the richest mining districts in the state of Alaska, and a friend of mine found the biggest nugget ever found up in that, what it's called, the Ruby Poor Man District. But it was a few miles up the creek, and my permit wouldn't let me go up the creek. I could only dredge on the main river, so we dredged around where the creeks would flow into the river, and we got a little bit of gold, enough to make it interesting, but doing it that way, it would not be worthwhile. So the answer is no. I'm all about Nome. I know where the gold is here. I only got one lifetime and not too much longer left in this one, probably. So I just make my stand right here in Nome. I'll leave the Yukon River for some other people.
Right. If it's working for you, why not? You know.
Mhm.
Ray Rusaw says, is that the Ruby Nugget? Is that what they call it?
Well, it was let's see, Barry Clay found it. I don't know what they call it, but it was the biggest one found in the state. And now he's mining up here in Nome or outside Nome up by the Cougarock River. End of last summer, Gary and Bryan and I went past his operation up there, and he's got quite a large operation up there on the Cougarock River. So he is not even there in Ruby anymore. Although his claim is for sale, the one he's got in Ruby is for sale. If anybody's interested, there's still gold there, but he prefers it up here.
So, are you from Nome? Where are you from, Vern?
I was born in Mobile, but I never lived in Mobile, but for about a year when I was a baby. And I grew up in the southeastern part of the country, Georgia, South Carolina.
Okay.
And then I've been traveling since I was about 17, and I merchant marine all over the world, and kind of washed up here in Alaska. My ship was running into Valdez. I was captain on a tanker running into Valdez, and then I got hooked up with the ship's pilots and moved up here to pilot ships back in '93. And so I've been up here living here since '93, but I was running into Alaska for several years before that on ships.
I remember hearing that in the beginning of the when you started doing the shows. I remember hearing that part of your history. What I don't remember what got you into gold.
Well, I've always realized that gold is real money, and that paper money is just, I mean, like
Paper.
all fiat currencies, sooner or later it reaches its true value, which is probably about what it's worth as toilet paper. So I'd always intended to take part of my payoff and buy gold with it, but guess what? I never did. So eventually there came a time when I got so disgusted with the present system. I remember sitting in the airport in 2010 watching some idiot on television talking about the economy and blah, blah, blah. I got so disgusted, I diverted. I was coming back from Kodiak heading to Homer. I diverted and went to Nome, came up here to Nome and bought myself a dredge because I decided I wanted to get some real gold off the bottom of the ocean that belonged to me personally, that I could hold in my hot little hand. And to hell with all that paper money. I don't trust the government. I don't trust the Federal Reserve, and I don't trust paper money. So I decided to get some of the real stuff for myself. So that's basically why I came up here.
So your first season, that if I remember correctly, that was a pretty rough season for you.
Oh yeah, about 3/4 of an ounce, I think, was my take.
Yeah.
And then I mean, there was a little bit of thieving going on, and a lot of people didn't know what the hell they were doing, one thing or another, including me in that respect. But I mean, you can't come up here and expect to just cut a fat hog in the ass the first season. It doesn't work that way. You got to go through a learning curve.
Right.
It's like sitting down.
And that doesn't work for us either, you know, coming on like with me coming on and trying to do this, thinking I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna find some gold and I'm gonna fill a jar up, and I'm in Ohio, you know, so you know, so yeah, you learn real quick that what you see on TV is not reality, first of all. You know?
Yeah, you gotta, it boils down to perseverance,
right?
And then plus you got to have a brain to kind of figure this crap out.
That helps.
But if you can, and then you also got to have some deep pockets if you want to do it on any kind of a skill. And so if you can stick with it long enough and get it figured out, it's like playing poker. sooner
Sure.
or later you learn what the rules are and how to play the game. My man Gary, he's pretty much an expert. He makes more money playing poker up here in Nome than he does gold mining.
Wow.
But I guarantee you, the first time he ever sat down at a poker table, he didn't win.
Well,
So
no, right.
Same thing with any business, really. You gotta make your bones. You gotta put in the time. You gotta do the work and figure it out. And then if you have way smart, you get better at it as you go along.
Well, that might have been his problem right off the bat. He probably won the first time, and he got sucked right into it.
Yeah. Well, he's also playing for an audience. He's got a good-looking audience up here that they think he's some kind of a poker table hero. So that keeps him motivated, I think.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't sound like too much. It doesn't sound like too many of them are female, though.
No, this particular one was a female. Come to think of it.
Watching right now.
As you ladies know, Gary is single and ready to mingle.
Oh,
I'll be back in Maine soon.
yeah, he's a mingler. That's for damn sure.
No.
But he's a dredger also. Him and Bryan both, they got into some really good gold. And I tell you what, there was one time in particular, Gary was down there and it was like yippee-ki-yay, the best gold they'd ever seen. And I tell you what, I've been waiting a long time to hear that. Back here on the back bench, beat my head against the wall for 10 years. And then finally, I bought a 375-acre lease tract at an auction sale earlier in the year. Finally got the permits towards the end of summer. Took us a while to get out there on it. A friend of mine dredged it last summer and he gave me some coordinates. We went out there, dropped down on top of it, and within a couple of hours, we were into some of the best gold I've ever seen.
Awesome.
And pretty much stayed on it for a while. So believe me, we got that spot bookmarked. And if that ice is right this winter, and if we can get out that far, we're gonna drop right down on top of it and we're gonna coon it, Jack.
Oh, so did you just give us a little hint of what was going to be happening for this winter, Bryan?
Well, it's no secret. I'm going to be up here. Those guys, they're welcome to come. They're telling me they might. They might come. I don't know. It depends on what kind of stuff they got. A lot of people can't cut it up here in Nome. I don't know about
Well, I don't know. When you said that, oh, Bryan's head goes, yeah. He got, oh yeah.
I really hate the cold. I love the diving when you got the hot water and it's fine when you're diving, but when you're waiting to dive, that's the part that sucks.
No, under the ice is easier than summer. It really is. The only bad part about under the ice is when you come up.
Oh, I don't know. From looking at Vern's shit.
You got somebody.
That seems pretty.
Yeah, I got somebody calling me. They keep calling me.
Oh, stop.
Okay, I'm clear now. Somebody keeps calling me. I think I got them shut off. But yeah, that's in the wintertime, a lot of people like it. I've only been down under the ice once. I got holes on my eardrums, but it's like a crystal cathedral down there. It's beautiful.
And I'm sure the what we see on TV is nowhere near what it actually looks like under there. I get that part. It kind of sucks. But
yeah.
Bryan, what did you think about dredging under there and seeing that gold come up like that, being able to just see puddles and streams flowing up the nozzle?
Man, it was crazy. Just like Gary, when Gary was finished doing his dive, he left the nozzle right there, and I went down and I just picked it up. As soon as I hit the dirt right there, you could just see it, the gold just falling down into the nozzle. Just crystals of gold just go. I'm like, holy shit! I've never seen anything like this. And that was, there's no. I picked up plenty of nuggets off the bottom, and yeah, you get excited, but when it's just continuously falling into the nozzle like that fine.
Oh yeah.
There's no feeling like it.
I can imagine. Well, I can't imagine. I can't wait to do that.
It was crazy. yeah, I can't wait to go back and do it again. I mean, just seeing all that gold in there, you just get so excited, and you don't even know how long you're dredging. You know, the next thing you know, people are pulling you out because they want their turn. You know.
Right. And you know me, I haven't dredged that much. I just learned not too long ago. And you've heard me tell that story about how I was underwater, the whole time, didn't even realize I was down there, ran a whole tank of gas, I'm wow, So
Let me tell you, 4 hours into the water,
trail of gold go up in the nozzle. How cool would that be?
Yeah.
Yeah,
there that we spend is like no time at all. Whenever we spend 4 to 5 hours, and a lot of people think that's a long time, but when you're seeing gold like that, you don't want to come up even after 5 hours, even though you're exhausted. But when you see gold like that, you don't want to come up. You want to just stay down there, but you got to come up because then you start getting into a risk factor, when you start.
Right. You still got to stay safe.
Yeah.
Well, right. Speaking of all that, I mean, I think it was right after Bryan got onto that good gold. We pulled him up and took the mask off, and he had blood squirting from every orifice north of his belly button. His ears were squirting. It was coming out of his eyeballs and his nose, and it was like out of a horror flick, out of the Night of the Walking Dead. And then he starts wiping everything off, and he says, "Oh, it's nothing. I'm okay. I'll go back down."
What, is that
no.
you have, Bryan?
No. I said, no, hell no, you won't. You'll go to the hospital. That's what you'll do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no permanent damage done, but I saw the pictures they took on the inside of his ears. It looked like bloody hamburger meat that somebody had thrown down his ear canal. So we had to keep him out of the water for a while. It didn't rupture anything, but it messed him up pretty, so he couldn't dive for the rest of the season. But he took care of everything topside, just first class. And plus, he was keeping us well fed. I mean, the guy's an executive chef in real life. And so between him doing the tending and managing the topside operation, we pretty much gave him a full share. Actually, I think a couple of times he made more than the divers did. So I wanted to keep him around. We got good people. You got to take care of them.
Oh yeah. So what caused that? What caused all that, Bryan?
It was just the pressure. I think we were down like 28 feet or so, and then when the waves come up and the tide comes up, it's just there's just a lot of pressure on you at that depth. And I think what happened was when I was going down, I must have had a cold, or my sinuses were stuffy or something, and so I'm not used to a full face mask either. So the problem is, like, when I usually dredge, I can just squeeze my nose because I got the not a full face mask on. Squeeze your nose, you blow, and your ears are fine. But with the full face, you can't touch your nose because that whole glass thing's there. So I was trying to yawn and trying to chew and try to pop my ears, but I guess they never fully popped. And what happened was I got barotrauma. It's just like fluid builds up on the inside of your ears because there's too much pressure. And then just my sinuses and everything when I came up, all that pressure when you're coming up. I mean, I didn't come up fast. I came up nice and slow and easy because you don't want to come up too fast because then you really mess yourself up.
Yeah.
But there was no emergency. I just came up nice and slow as usual, but just being down for so long at that amount of pressure, it really messes you up. Well, at least messed me up with just my sinuses were bleeding, my ears were bleeding.
I think they say now, don't quote me on this because the divers say don't do this, but I've found that when I was diving even deeper, 40, 50 feet, you take decongestant before you dive, and it really does help. It helped me. So I mean, it's something to think about, but they say you shouldn't do it. But I really don't see any harm in it, and it did help me whenever I was in more deeper water. So
what did you do, Gary? What did you do? You blew.
Take a decongestant,
Oh yeah. No, that's always
good.
good. I mean, that's always good. That opens up those sinuses. And then I really think probably what happened with Bryan more than anything else is he wasn't able to clear his ears, equalize his ears. And those full face masks, there's a rubber plug there under your nose. You got to jam it up into your nose and blow. It's difficult to do. And he wasn't well trained on the use of that mask. And I believe that's what caused the problem. But hopefully that'll never happen again.
There's a special technique you can do. You'll hear me down under when I go down. You'll hear me doing it. There's a special technique you can do where you don't have to plug your nose. It's just it takes a little bit to learn, but once you know it, that's what I do to clear my ears. And you might hear funny sounds. It sounds I kind of sound like a pig.
Over the comm box, they start hearing these funny noises. Yeah.
So I got another question
Gary
here.
doing?
So I got another question for Vern from Three Nuggeteers. Where is a good place to stay in Nome for a couple of weeks going on vacation in 2022?
Well, that's the $64,000 question. There is no place around here. Real estate, a place to stay is very, very hard to find. Hotels are expensive as hell. In days past, you could pitch a tent on the beach down on West Beach and nobody bothered you. And some people still do that. But it's really difficult to find a good place to stay around here. I've finally bought a compound outside of town out there that's got space for tents, and I got a cabin and an RV and some things like that. But I guess if a friend of mine was going to come up here and he didn't mind living in the rough, I'd say get yourself we use those insulated igloo ice fishing tents. You get one that's one of the ones we have is about a footprint about 8 square feet, and they're pretty easy to heat. And set it up on the down beach down there and wait for somebody to tell you to move it. And then by then, you'll probably be about ready to go anyway. And you can buy them for a few $100s and just camp out. Just camp out on the beach. And it's supposedly illegal, but people do it. And nobody really pays much attention to the law around here anyhow. So I think a person could get away with it for quite a while. Matter of fact, one of the guys we have working for us, a guy named Kyle. What was that guy's name? Kyle, I think it was.
Tyler.
He lived on the down beach. What was it?
I think it was Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler. Yeah, Tyler. He lived on the beach down there the entire damn summer. He had a little kickback, little tent, whatnot. Guys will throw up plywood shacks. Used to, they make what they call pallets. Just pick up a bunch of pallets and put them together and tarp over them, and you got yourself a little habitat. There's ways of doing it if you don't mind not having indoor facilities, running water and all of that sort of stuff.
No room service.
When I first got down there, I got off the plane with a backpack on my back and very little money in my pocket. But anyway, I walked down the beach and I found the same cabin that Emily Rydell stayed in when she first got there. As a matter of fact, it's on the TV show. And,
right.
I went in and I remodeled it the best I could, and I stayed in that thing for I think about a month and a half, 2 months before I got on the Synergy, one of the biggest dredges in Nome, and started working. Found a place in town.
Yeah, just an old broke down shack on the beach. There's a few of them down there. If you find one that nobody's living in, and I think you found an old pair of skivvies over in the corner that you still have, don't you?
Yeah.
Hey, you got to reuse what you can in Nome. Skivvies are hard to come by in Nome.
So anyway, that's the way I would do it if I came up just like Gary did. And that people ask me all the time. I mean, they're hyperventilating about, where am I going to do what Gary did? Get on a friggin' plane, get your ass on up here and do it. Make it happen.
So the majority of the people that are there that weren't born there, is that how they get there?
A lot of them, yeah. They just decide to hell with it. I'm gonna make the leap. I'm gonna get myself a plane ticket and fly up here and see what happens. If you got some kind of skills, if you're a mechanic or a welder, you'll be in demand. You can find some work. And then other than that, if you want to go dredging, you just start spooking around, talking to the dredgers, and sooner or later you'll find somebody that's going to need a tender or a diver, and that's how you get started. You get started on the bottom, living in a down tent or a shack on the beach, and kind of work your way up from there.
But be prepared for a lot of toughness, a lot of tough,
Mhm.
hard times, because it's not easy. Trust me.
Right.
Oh, I
So,
bet.
so
Like
if you're,
Scott having a grizzly go to his tent. If you're right on the beach, though, the grizzlies will come right up to you. They had to shoot them.
wow.
Yeah, those grizzlies, they'll come right up and, because you got all your food in your tent and stuff. Yeah,
Right.
Now, do they end up having a barbecue with that or what?
Yeah, I don't know.
Everybody on
Yeah,
the
Meg R-15 and shot him.
Bryan's hyperventilating about that. There are grizzlies down there, brown bear down there. We call them brown bear around here. But since I've been here, I haven't actually heard of them. No, not on the beach anyway. The guy who used to be the fire chief here down there got ate up by one here 7 or 8 years ago. But yeah, there's nothing to mess around with. But it's not like it's an everyday occurrence. You go way on down West Beach, and you're likely to see a couple of bears. But in closer to town, I haven't seen one close to town personally. But you go 12 or 15 miles down the beach, yeah, I've seen a bunch of them down there.
That sounds like that's close enough for Bryan.
I really wanted to see one. I never saw one. I was hoping to see one, but never did.
Oh, I've seen them down there right on the beach.
Well, go down there. Go down.
Creek there.
Go down to the other side of Bryan. Go down to the other side of Cripple Creek.
Yeah.
Set up your tent. Get a big pan and start cooking some bacon. And then crawl in your sleeping bag and see what happens.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I'll pass.
So Vernon, now that Bryan swept up your gold room floor, probably for the first time you've ever done that, what do you think of what he found?
Well, I mean, good for them. I mean, I'm glad somebody finally swept the damn floor. Maybe it'll stay a little clean.
Sweeping more up, and it's kind of rewarding. Actually, I got that gold right here in a bag. I'm going to give it away.
Yeah.
It's still in a bag that I got from the gas station because I'm sick of smelling like diesel. I was the one who always filling up the heaters at night with diesel and the motor, so I was always smelling like diesel. So I saw these little gloves at the gas station there, so I grabbed some, and that's all we had. So I put the floor gold in the glove bag.
Oh, you got it right there.
Yeah, it's right here. Yeah, that's exactly. I threw it in there and haven't played with it since. But
where's the cut?
Yeah, I don't know how much is in there. I mean, I see gold in it. It's whatever was in that video we got right here, and I'm gonna give it to you.
That was
well, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you can't get it all. I mean, no doubt. I know that old trailer I used to live in up on Murder Hill. That's what I lived in when I first came here. I paid like $2,000 for this old trailer that was just a total wipeout mess. All kind of fungus, rot, and black mold and crap inside it. I lived in that thing for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And one day, this friend of mine's wife was sitting there on a little porch in front of the place and looked down, and she says, "There's gold down there." And sure and shooting, it looked like somebody had taken a handful of like little pickers and fine gold and threw it on the ground. Somebody must have dumped out a bucket of concentrate there thinking they had already run them. And so she was just as happy. I mean, she panned out that my whole front yard before it was over with, but she probably got like, I don't know, maybe a quarter of an ounce.
Well, that's not bad for just painting in the front yard.
Yeah. I'd suspect somebody, you get the buckets mixed up sometime.
Right.
I'd suspect somebody dumped out a bucket that hadn't been run through the sluice box.
And as far as on the gold ship, I don't know where that came from. we literally got two pickers. We got 2 pickers in there, so I don't even know where that.
Little pickers, yeah.
Yeah, we get a little sloppy every now and then. I mean, you got so much gold. I mean, wait.
Right.
Yeah, it's all those pounds of gold. What do you do? You know.
Yeah. And so you drop a picker here or there, you know. Well, it looked, if I remember correctly, it looked like about a couple grams you swept up.
Now that'd be a good job for all the mining shacks and stuff. But maid service, Brian, you go around, vacuum up floors, and pan out that.
No, you
Yeah,
just go to all the dredges that park there at the harbor and ask them if you can clean up underneath their boxes.
Yeah, you want me? Yeah, it's like, you want me to clean your dredge? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
There you go,
let me
Vernon.
detail your dredge for you. Take the hoses apart, take everything out.
Year if you did
Yeah,
that.
especially. Oh yeah, the hose change, man. That was rewarding. I think there's a
Yeah,
lot of gold in that hose.
That was amazing.
that was yeah. Is that in there
Totally
too?
unexpected.
Oh,
Gary
you
was doing. He's like, "Oh, dude, there's gold in there." I'm like, "Whoa, hold on, let me grab my camera."
yeah.
How much did we get over there, Brian?
So, Brian, next time you go up there, take one of those little battery operated vacuums. Just vacuum the floors up.
Yeah, well, there's pipes in the middle of the floors because Vernon put 2 pontoons on the side, so there's like a structure on the floor there, and underneath those like bars is where all the dirt and the gold hides, and if you hit the boom in there really good, you can make a living probably.
Detailing ships and dredges.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, there's still quite a bit of dirt in there. But, no, it's fun.
You also went over to a bucket dredge, right?
Yeah, number 6, me and Gary there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to,
Go ahead.
yeah, that was over near the Tom Cod there. So we got permission to go on there. And,
Hey, wait a second, Brian,
Gary,
Brian, before you say anything, you
Oh,
sure you want to give this away?
well, we'll just tell some of the stories. So yeah, no, we did. We took some of the dirt off the sluice boxes and we panned it out. And there's gold there for sure. And we need to go back, but we weren't able. We need to go back to do something, but we were able to get back in there because there was a gate that was locked. And anyways, we need to go back and make another video.
Yeah, it's easier in the winter time because that pond is frozen. You can just walk right over it. As it was, they were having to walk down like a plank over some water and kind of tipsy. But come winter time, heck, you can skate over to the dredge and go aboard it. And people have been hitting that dredge for years, but they have not gotten it all. And these guys, I think they found they got into some pretty good stuff. So, but there's more to be gotten later.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, without literally dismantling it, you're not going to get all them cracks and crevices and.
Oh, they're dismantling it.
Okay. Well, there you go.
They don't mess around. They don't mess around.
That was fun. But yeah, needless to say, we got to go back and finish the job. Vernon, do you want to tell them about your plans for next year? Are you allowed to talk about that, or?
I can talk about anything I want to talk about, Brian.
Yeah, just because it's real exciting what you got planned for next year, for next summer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm up here. I'm here in Nome right now, getting ready for the winter season, moving things around. We got the crawler. I've been working on a bottom crawler for a few years. I got sidetracked with the gold ship, but ready to get right back into that. I got a big ass 16-inch pump. He's finished building my pump down in Texas. Bring it up here, hook it up to my bottom crawler, and put that thing on the bottom out on that new lead track I bought, and eventually get it so that we can control it from the surface. But in the beginning, I'll have a diver down controlling the bottom crawler, which is basically the traction frame off a mid-sized excavator and the arm off a what you call a backhoe, a Case 450 backhoe. And then I'll have a nozzle attached to that arm and attached to that big 16-inch pump, and we'll just suck it up. We'll go right back where we were this last summer and work that line. There's a line that's parallel to the beach. My claim is a mile long, and it's 375 acres, and a square mile is 160 acres. So I got like 2.5 square miles there, or whatever it is, you know. And so that bottom crawler, that claim has not hardly been touched, but I got some deeper water out that's 40, 45 feet deep. I know damn well it's not been touched. I know one diver that worked out there. He dives deep, and he was out there a couple of summers ago, and he swears up and down he was on 2 ounce an hour stuff with a 6-inch dredge. and that was in about 45 feet of water. Put that bottom crawler out there and figure it out. It's like anything else, new piece of equipment. It's gonna take a while to get it working right.
Right. Yeah.
But once I do, and then I'm gonna keep the gold ship. I'll keep that from now on, and then I'll have that one floating dredge, which, as far as I'm concerned, is the best one in Nome, and then I'll have the bottom crawler, and I think that's about, as far as like dredges, that's about gonna be it for me. That's all I want to deal with right at the present time.
So
And
that bottom crawler, with that bottom crawler, so what do? You're going to be on the bottom. You're going to be digging up the material in front of you and sucking it up, right?
Is it a
Sucking
crawler?
it up. I'm not going to dig it. I'm going to suck it.
Oh,
Although
okay.
I'm going to leave the bucket on there so I can rip up the ground if I have to. I'll probably put a rake on it.
Well, that's what that's what I meant. Just kind of dig in front of you and break it up. Suck it up.
I'll break it up and then knuckle under with a rake and then extend the nozzle and suck it up and send it up top.
Sounds like a winner. That'd be fun. But that's for next summer, you hope.
Yeah, right. And then this coming winter, we already got our spot picked out. If the ice is such that we can get out there, it's different every year. But if it's nice enough that'll let us get out there, we're out there, shoot. We must have been not damn near 3/4 of a mile. No, I take that back. About a half a mile from the beach seaward. We were out at sea for about a mile from the beach, a half mile. Well, a lot of times the ice is really flaky out that far. So if we get lucky and the ice is nice and thick and we're able to get out that deep, out that far, we will have a very good ice season. I guarantee you.
So is there a certain thickness of ice that you want to see before you go out there?
I like to have at least 2 feet of ice. I would do it with 1.5 feet. If I don't have at least 1.5 feet, it's real flaky. It's dangerous as hell. I put all my equipment on floats. I got all my equipment. I got like 3 different platforms that are on inflatable pontoons. The main Combe shack, I got 2 20-footers that are 36 inches in diameter, and the Combe shack itself, it'll be essentially the same one I had last year, except with some modifications. It'll be inside a double Cabela igloo ice fishing tent that's 8 by 16. We'll set up in that, and then I got 2 other floats with smaller pontoons that we'll use to support the engine and pump and generator, and then another one that we'll just have a single ice fishing tent. That'll be for the divers to change out and hang up their gear and so forth. So right now, that's what I'm doing up here right now.
That's
getting all that equipment ready.
Just in the tents alone, that's a major. You're looking at what, four pieces of equipment just for cover?
No, essentially it'll be 4 counting the sluice. I gotta build a sled for the sluice. I'm not gonna have it on floats though, but I'll have 2 20-footers supporting the main structure, our Combe tent, and then 2 16-foot pontoons on supporting a platform that'll have my pump and engine and generator, and it'll have a tent over it also, and then an 8 by 8 platform with a couple of small. I think those red pontoons, Bryan and Gary, I think they're 12 feet long, whatever. We'll put a couple of those small inflatables under that. So if the ice does go out, which has been known to do,
right,
we can stay afloat. We're not going to die. We've had some close calls with other people around here, some good friends of ours, and I almost lost my rig 2 or 3 different times when the ice broke off and drifted out. Been real lucky on that. I don't want to take any chances with it. That's why I'm putting everything on inflatable pontoons, so that worst case, if we get blown out to sea, we will stay afloat.
That's pretty important out there for sure. So I can have you run across while you're down there dredging, have you run across any sunken barges or dredges from ones that have fallen through before? I mean, they gotta
No, they found a nice anchor there last summer. I think it was Gary found a pretty big anchor, but no, I mean, but this coastline is littered with shipwrecks. You go to this website called Shipwrecks of Alaska and punch in Nome, and I'm telling you, God knows how many shipwrecks along this coast. It's very dangerous. The weather kicks up real fast, and it's shallow here, so the sea builds up. Mountainous seas will build up just almost instantaneously.
So when you see those on the gold shows and stuff there in the Bering Sea, you see them talking about all of a sudden there's a storm coming up. Is it that quick? Is it that severe that you gotta for cover?
The answer is yes. It's almost like flipping a light switch. And in some places it is. They get what they call willy wise. Not in this particular location, but some places around here, the cold air will build up behind the range of mountains, and then it will spill over like pouring water out of a bowl down through a gap in the mountains, and it'll come down valleys. And I've seen the time over in Valdez. I was out on deck anchoring a ship, and it went from being pretty moderate to damn near froze me in place like an icicle in the space of like 2 minutes. Just a minus 20 blast moving it, and it picks up a lot of speed when it comes down. It'll be moving at 50 or 60 knots, damn near hurricane force winds, and it's just ice cold. And I mean, it'll freeze you in place. So you can say it kicks up in a hurry, and there's just a lot of.
Tell me what happened to our neighbors, the Russians.
Yeah, well, our neighbors, some guys we know here, they went down the bluff, and these guys are known to stay too long. Gary dredged with them summer before last, and he knows. He was so glad that he was on my boat rather than with them. And this guy, he didn't know much about seamanship, and plus he didn't have much respect for the ocean or the weather, and they stayed too long, and they tried to beat it back into Nome in front of a storm, and the storm got them. The night before, we were there on the gold ship, and Gary was worried about them because they hadn't got back to port. The next morning, we found out that their boat got rolled. One of them made it ashore, the other two didn't. And then here 2 or 3 weeks ago, one body washed up, but the other body is still missing. So that's what can happen. Now that one, there was advance notice on that storm, but they just didn't pay attention to it, or possibly didn't have the comms down at Bluff to even know that it was coming in. But you got to have absolute respect for this ocean, or it will kill you.
No, I can imagine.
So Gary knows a lot more about that particular boat because he worked on it the summer before. And he had a couple of close calls that almost ended in the boat getting rolled and ended in fatalities. And anyway,
I'll tell you the reason why what happened to him was, the time we almost got rolled was we were working, we were getting the good gold in the bluffs, and he prolonged coming home, even though he knew we heard it on the radio that the storm was coming in. He prolonged heading back because we're getting gold, and it pissed me off at the time. But on the way home, same thing almost happened to us. We hit huge storm, probably 20-foot seas, and we almost lost it then. And then this time, I believe he did the same thing. He just overextended his the time working. I mean, I know they were getting good gold at the time, so he just waited too long. It just doesn't take very much, and then once that storm's there and you got to come back. The only point to get a break is Nome. So, I mean, they hit it on the way home, and sure as shit, it done them in this time.
Yeah,
it's nice to be able to find gold like that, but it's not worth killing yourself over.
No,
no, it's not, and that's a long way. Bluff to Nome is 70, 80 miles, and
right.
there's a safety sound in good weather. You could probably find a channel in the safety sound, but when the rollers are coming in, you don't know where that damn channel is. Not very wide. I mean, in some places it might be 50 feet wide. No chance in hell in bad weather you're going to get in the safety sound. So the only place for 70 miles along that lee shore in a storm between Bluff and Nome is Nome. If you don't leave yourself time to get back home, buddy, you're going to be in a bad fix.
That seems like
I mean, God bless those guys. I hate for it to happen to anybody, and
right.
you know,
Right.
and then one of the guys that was working with us at the end of the season, Sasha, he was really good friends with them. They're all Russians, Ukrainians, and they're pretty tight clique. And he was upset about it, as naturally as he would be. He knew them pretty well. And anyway, but he's kind of that same ilk. The guy has no fear, period. He just he for lack of a better word, he does some crazy shit that's kind of scary. But I mean, and that's coming from somebody that does that for a living, you know.
Right.
So but you could ask Gary and Bryan. Some of the things we saw him do was you know, way out there on the ragged edge.
Yep.
And I guess those other boys took it even further beyond the ragged edge.
So our buddy Scott Swiftwater Tony has a question. Let's see if I can get this right. He wants to know, Vern, when are you going to put 2 dredges, one on each side of that boat?
It's hard enough just handling one of them. And then plus you get down there and, I mean, biggest part of the problem, big part is moving, you know, and you got to, one diver can clear out an area and then you got to move. If you got 2 divers down there, there's going to be overlap and confusion and people getting tangled up. And then plus you clear the area out and then you got to move twice as fast.
Right.
I'm not saying you might could get a little bit more production out of it. You know, I've thought about it. Everybody's thought about it. A couple of people have tried it, but it's just not worth the aggravation. The only thing I could think of, I've often thought about taking a small 6-inch prospecting dredge out there with us, but it would be autonomous. We'd put it in the water and let him, it'd be something that the diver could pull along with him. And then he could come back to the mother boat if he found something.
Right.
And I would probably get into doing that eventually. But as far as rigging up so that I got like 2 8s or 2 10s on that, I don't think I'm going that route.
A little scout dredge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't be bad. I mean, that's something that you can move around and just test with. And
Yeah. And I've already got the platform, all kinds of damn inflatable pontoons and all the equipment. We could throw one together in an afternoon, probably. Well, hell, I know we could. And then just tow it out there with us or lift it up and carry it with us. And we get out there, put that in the water and turn a diver. A lot of prospectors like to work those little rigs by themselves. I personally like to always have a tender, but if it was small and light enough, I wouldn't have a problem turning a single diver loose with it. Go out and do some prospecting.
Right. If I remember correctly, didn't Palm Ricky do that when he first went out to the bluff? Didn't he take like a 4-inch with him?
I don't know. I don't think I was watching this show that much. I don't watch it all the time. I'm not sure what he did.
I think on one of the seasons when they first went out to the bluff, I think he took a 4-inch dredge out there with them, but the water was moving so much they couldn't stay in one spot. And then they lost the good gold out there, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Sean's he moves quick. He's a hard man to keep up with. Not sure what he's doing, but he knows his business. I mean, he's been doing it a long time, and he's successful with it.
Our buddy Dano has to go, so we will catch you later, Dano.
Peace, guys. I got to go pre-salt lots.
Yeah.
Have fun driving around
Nice
all
seeing you
night.
guys. Hope to see you again sometime here soon.
Okay, yeah, nice meeting you.
Well, you'll be seeing Bryan in January.
Yeah, I know. I got some balls for him.
Hey, there's no
All right,
hair
Dan.
on him.
Take it easy, guys. Have a good show.
You
too.
too.
I'll still be
Be
listening while I'm
careful.
driving. I just can't respond.
Yeah.
Right. Dano off to work the
Off to
salt.
Wake.
We got a big snowstorm coming.
Yeah. So yeah, I can
So-
imagine just having one dredge on your boat. That's a lot of work in itself. Now you got to try to maintain two people down at the same time. That would seem like you might as well just get another boat.
It would be
No,
too-
no, you know, the thing about the biggest pain in the ass of this whole judging thing is the divers. No offense, Gary and Bryan, but god damn. Jeez,
Yeah, we
I
went through
want
a
to get,
couple.
I want a dredge that doesn't have any divers on it.
How
It's
about
like,
CJ?
I mean, they're always out there trying to kill themselves and shit's breaking all the time. And
Hey, Vernon,
Jesus,
how many divers did we go through this year?
oh, I don't know about. I change the divers about every time I change my underwear. I mean, it wasn't that frequently.
It had to have
Hey,
been.
It probably about 6 or so, I think.
Is that
But
is that average? Is that a yearly thing? Does that happen every year?
I've been through most every diver in town. I
Yeah.
mean, and most of them don't last long. Okay, I don't put up with any
They
dead
go
ends,
down.
not for long.
They don't think it's like river dredging, kind of like what I thought. I thought it was gonna be like river dredging, but the first time I went down, like I was trying to hold it all together, but man, it's scary because you're just going down and down and down, and it's all green. It's not crystal clear like a river. You
It
just see
takes a
green
long
and you're going
time to
down. You
do.
got like all this lead on you, and these camera people are in your face, and it's kind of scary. So I can
Yeah.
see a lot of people the first time they'll just freak out and they come back up and they're like, "Nah, I'm not doing that," But if you can make it down the first time and you hold it together, you'll do fine.
Yeah, you do fine, but the thing about it is, first time divers don't usually put much gold in the box. You guys were the exception. You had some experienced river dredging, which I'll always take a river dredger over at some Navy SEAL or some commercial divers. And those guys tend to be prima donna assholes that don't know jack diddly squat about dredging. I want dredgers. I want somebody who knows about gold. I don't want
Right.
somebody that's, super trained, working way below his pay grade out there with a little hookah rig. I don't need no. I'd just rather get somebody off the river that knows a little bit about dredging and train them up. All the local guys around here that are worth a damn and got their own rigs or working on good boats. It's really hard to find good people. Like I said, I've been through just about everybody in town, and some of them more than once. And this
Yeah.
year, my main man, Gary Panos, he had to check out because of all this COVID nonsense. They were afraid he was going to get stranded up here, and there were riots in his town, all this shit.
Yeah.
He checked out. Then Gary Simpson, the one you're talking to, he managed to get himself bent, had the life flight his ass from Nome to Seattle at 3,000 feet on a Learjet, and pressed him up, I think, 3 times, but he kind of pretty much recovered, and he came back, but a lot of people wouldn't. I mean, he pretty much recovered, except that sometimes when he's walking, he kind of veers off to the left a little bit, and if you're following him while he's driving, the car just tends to just shift over to the left a little. But
That's
he's
pretty
okay.
good
He's okay. He's a tough
He
guy.
just
came
tilts to the
back.
left a little bit.
Yeah. He got a little bit of a port list on him these days, but he came back. And then same thing with Bryan. A lot of guys, when they come up squirting blood from their ears and bleeding from the nose and eyeballs, they probably would have looked in the mirror and said, I'm going home. But Bryan stuck. But I had various other people. There's one guy, Crazy Jesus, he was all about, used to dive. Somebody stuck a damn hydraulic hose on his air compressor one time. And he went down and got hydraulic fluid all in his lungs. He was damn near dead and had all kinds of shit go wrong with him for 3 or 4 years. And he finally came back and he went, come diving with us. He went down and stayed about 15 minutes. If he'd have stayed another 5 minutes, we'd have been pulling his lifeless corpse off the bottom. And so he didn't last but 15 minutes. And then another guy, little skinny hip dude, he didn't want to use our rig with a shoulder harness. So he wanted to use his weight belt. So he gets down there and his weight belt slips off his hip, tangles up with the umbilical, pulls his face mask off, and he's under the boat. The comms go dead. The video goes dead. All I heard was, and I'm thinking, he's dead. I mean, he stayed under, 2 or 3 minutes go by. I hear nothing. I don't know what the hell's going on. And then, assuming he's not going to be able to breathe for 2 or 3 minutes, he's a goner. But what happened was he came up and he popped up between the hulls. It's a catamaran. He was down under the boat between the hulls. Thank God for that. And then there were a couple other people. I don't know. There's 2 or 3 others. I can't remember right at the moment. But we went through a whole damn mob of divers that, and then the crazy Russian kid, I forgot about him. He did okay. He's a hard charging, goal getting son of a gun. He was right in there with Gary and Bryan as far as getting the gold. And so he'll be coming back with us. He might dive with us this winter. But so one thing after another. I mean, it's like it's a dangerous business unless you got your wits about you and know what's going on. Even if you do, you're still a big possibility you're going to get hurt.
Right.
So
the air compressor, belts fall off the air compressor, pulleys fall off. One of our air compressor filters exploded like a bomb on the boat one time. 2 minutes after I came up. 2 minutes came up, boom! Sounded like a bomb went off. Everyone was ducking this piece of plastic going everywhere. But yeah, there's shit that happens,
Yeah. It's
so every year you must get a large influx of people coming in wanting to do this. So are there people that you use like all the time because they're from, they live in Nome, or
I try to get good people and have them come back time after time. But like Gary Panos, he's a top-notch guy. He was my mainstay up here. He was my manager. He did, I could just turn him loose up here and let him run with it. And but he had to go because of, the COVID thing. And then there for a while, I had nobody. And then Gary Simpson came back. And then I dug Bryan up off the internet. I was following some of his stuff, and he had just been up to the 40 mile, I think it was. And I thought, well, no, I'd been up to Chicken. And
I lost your
so anyway, we made contact, and he turned out to be pretty good. Not used to this kind of diving, but he knows how to dredge. And so between the two of them, I had the nucleus of a crew. And then I lost Bryan. I had to get at least one other guy. And then there was little Max. Max had been with me for 3 or 4 years, but he went through a period where he was having a hard time showing up for work. And so we had to let him go for a while. He's back on the team now. He's out there at my camp doing some work for me right now. So he'll probably be back. He's been a lot more dependable here lately. But I forgot about little Max. So I try to always keep the same people. I try to get rid of the deadheads. The same thing I used to do on ship. I fire all the deadbeats, deadheads, get rid of the deadwood, right?
Right.
Keep the good guys, and I try to make them wealthy, because that's the only thing they really understand when you're trying to show your gratitude. They don't care about your gratitude. They want to see the gold, right?
They don't care about that slap in the back. They want that slap in the hand.
Yeah,
I know all those Chinese dinners help too.
Yeah.
Chinese food.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my theory, and it's just trying to get good people and keeping them on the team. It's probably it's 1/3 of the battle. You got to have the equipment, you got to have the ground, you got to have the people, and then there's 2 or 3 other ducks you got to get lined up in a row before you actually get the gold. So with Gary and Bryan and little Max back now, I got the nucleus of a good team.
So, you're up there with your dredge and your team, and you have other boat captains and dredgers with their teams. In general, you guys get along. I know that on TV they like to show all the drama and stuff, but generally, do you guys all get along where, you know, you kind of hang out, or are you all a bunch of stuck in the muds?
No, we get along. We get along with most everybody up here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of people that you figure out pretty quick who the good guys and bad guys
Right.
are. You know, I got two lists: the good guy list and the shit list. And so, and then Gold has a way of bringing out the best and the worst in people.
Right.
So you try to keep to the, you know, the good side of that ledger, and you'll do okay.
Well, I got to tell you though, the whole thing, I was nervous whenever Vernon said he's got a new guy named Bryan coming up, because you always get nervous, you know, because it was just me for a while. And I was thinking, what kind of guy is this going to be? You know, because you never know. But when Bryan showed up, I was, you know, me and Bryan clicked perfectly. So I mean, yeah,
Bryan's a really good guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a great decision to have Bryan come up, and I mean, the whole year went so much better because he was there. So I'm definitely hoping he comes back.
Same thing with Gary. You know, I go out. You know, I'm gonna live with this dude for God knows how long. I didn't know him, and yeah, no, I mean, only took a couple hours and shit. We were like best buddies. We're going out and going on adventures and doing things and hitting the bars and hitting on girls and, you know, having a good old time.
Type of people, you know, we got the same, you know, we love gold. So, I mean, immediately we hit it off, and, you know, we're good buddies, and we're probably going to remain good buddies for the rest of our lives. You know, it's
Awesome.
It's a
Yeah,
very
that time that we spent with Bryan, we had a great time. He's a character, but we had a great time camping and dredging and prospecting with him for the weekend. Hopefully we'll do it again real soon.
Yep.
Got a train coming by. Hold on, I'll mute.
Well, I'll
So
take this opportunity to do a thank you for a super chat, Ted. Thanks for the super chat.
So Vernon, I can.
Oh yeah, nice. Super chat.
So what happened?
I said, Vernon, I can't wait to get up there and see you this year. I mean, you know, the ocean's still not even got any ice on it, so I don't know. I'm kind of worried.
No, it'll freeze up eventually. I'm pretty sure it does every year. Although year before last, winter before, not this winter, but it was very, very piss poor ice. I mean, the ice broke up and went away on March the 15th, which was a month and a half early. And I hope we don't have another year like that. Yeah. That'll be a disaster. If we have some good thick ice, we'll do well, especially if it's flat enough that we can travel out to our spot. Yeah, we'll do well.
So you need a good week of freezing weather with no winds, right?
Oh, you need more than that.
You know?
No, it takes more than a week to build up that kind of thickness. And then usually it'll freeze. Then the wind will shift and some things will happen and they'll break off and they'll go back out to sea. Then the wind will turn around and blow it back in. And the edges will ride up and ride under. And that'll happen 2 or 3 times. Sometimes it happens several times. It makes a big jumbled mess out there. Other years, I've seen it one year where it just got cold and stayed that way, and it was flat. We drive to Tomcod, 75 miles an hour. It's almost like a freeway, flat. And so every year it's totally different. You never know what it's going to do. If we're lucky, we'll be able to go down there and launch right off the beach, go out there a half a mile out to where we'll be dredging, and pop down, and bada bing, we'll be on the go. But, you know, fingers crossed. The odds of that happening, I'd say right now, 50-50. Last year, Emily and her crew were down there just right to the west of my claim. They were on 14. I butt up against 14, and they couldn't get out to where they needed to be. The ice was not sufficiently thick. They had a tough time of it. And 56, my claim, I don't think we'd have been able to work 56 last winter. So, you know, I'm just hoping that this year we'll be able to get out there.
So I think I'm not sure, but Nugget Brain Peterson, our buddy Wayne, asking about the big submarine. Is that the crawler that we were talking about earlier?
No, I think he means the big submarine dredge. A crawler is like an excavator.
Right.
And the turret's up above water, and
He's talking about the big submarine dredge that's fenced off, parked on right.
Right. Yeah,
Avenue.
you're talking about Gustafson's submarine, probably. So, well, what do you want to know about it?
We just want to know
if it's still there.
If it's still there.
Oh yeah, it's still there. Friend of mine, Gary Gustafson, and his son built it, and spent, God knows, I don't know, $1 million, whatever, and it didn't work. Although I think it probably could have worked, but they got out there and almost drowned and scared the crap out of themselves and brought it back in, and it's been sitting there ever since. I tried to get him to let me take it out, and I tried to buy it from him, but he wanted too much money for it. I think he ended up getting salt water in its hydraulic system, but that could have been cleaned out. And it's some modifications, but with some modifications, I think it would have worked. But once he was done with it, he was done. He went on and built some other rigs after that, and but he never really sticks with one all the way through to the end. He jumped track 3 or 4 different times rather than staying with one until he got it to where it worked. And so I think he's kind of out of the game now. I haven't talked to him lately, but I don't think that submarine will ever go anywhere.
Out of like 100 people that go up there, how many do you think are like successful and like will stay at least 5 years?
Out of every 100 people come here with the intention of gold mining?
Yeah.
Probably one.
Probably one. Definitely probably one.
Probably one.
Yeah,
no, I think a lot of people on Facebook, they want to come up and like drop their whole lifestyle, come up and get a lot of gold. And I mean, I don't want to be Debbie Downer in anyone's hopes and dreams, and but if you go up there, man, I mean, it's just a whole different story. It's real expensive. There's no Home Depot. There's no there's no stores or anything like that. I mean, just to get supplies, you got to like barter with people, make friends with people, and trade. And it's hard just to keep going.
And then the other thing is not knowing who to listen to. There've been a few people that I tried to tell what I know and keep them from stepping all over their dicks, but they wouldn't listen to me. They listened to some guy that conned them out of all their money, so they just refused to be helped. And so, God bless them. I can only do so much. But that's the part of it is if you came in with very little resources and you had some good guidance, a good mentor, you could probably make it. You get the right kind of little beach launcher, little small rig, little one-handed operation to start out with and build on that, making a little gold while you're learning. Right. Or even just come up here with the right kind of beach mining rig, and then knowing the people around here, there's some people who will show you the material you need to get, and you could do okay beach mining.
I was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask you about people mining on the beach out there. Do they do it? I know we had our buddy John Markham was up there a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Who was he working with?
I don't know if he went out with anybody. Oh, he did dredge, didn't he?
Yeah, he dredged with somebody out there. I think they were just
I
off
think
the
it was
beach.
the Kellys, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. Would have to ask Mark. But looks like Thomas is having trouble with his mic, though. But we have a very good friend of the channel that wanted to hop in. I like his wardrobe tonight.
Yeah. Military.
His couple
And
generations flashing your pan towels and sporting his veteran's hat, but he's having trouble with his mic.
Mm-hmm.
Is that you? No, can't hear you yet. It's trying to connect.
Pick a different option on your mic, Thomas.
Yeah, that microphone button gets kind of funky sometimes.
Might have
We can
to
hear
check your headset for your
Unmute.
headset mic.
How about if I
Oh, there
unmute?
you go.
You're good.
How about
Oh,
if I just
yeah.
unmute? How about that?
That-
Does that
That'll work.
That would
Lord.
be good. That would be good.
I've tried to tell people that before, but they don't listen. Unmute. What's up? What's up, Thomas?
you guys? I'm just here to join the fun.
Well, cool. Nice to see you. I haven't talked to you in quite a while. Hello.
Yeah, I haven't got out there and did much and hadn't seen you guys.
No.
Right.
Do you have something for Vernon or Bryan or Gary?
Well,
You-
Bryan,
you
I talk to
know
all
we
the time.
love you,
I
but-
talk to him. I talk to him. I can talk to Bryan anytime.
Yeah.
But Vernon, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Who was the guy that I can't remember which season it was, but he came there and he was either, I don't know if he was just brain addled from service or whatever, but had this fit about the weight belt.
Yeah,
I know.
that was Hurricane Dave.
Oh,
He's
that
out of
dude.
Florida. He's a sponge diver. He goes out. Hang on,
Yeah.
Matt.
You're back.
Yeah. So anyway, Dave. He was authentic. He was the most tightly wound person I've ever met in my life, bar none. There were some people that were staying at the hotel with him here, back where the Polaris bar used to be. He was having animated conversations with himself all night long. They could hear all of it down there. And then, but what he does down in Florida, he's a sponge diver. He's got his own boat, a nice boat. He goes out with his 2 dogs. He probably just drives the dogs crazy, but that's a perfect job for him. He goes out by himself. He's down on the bottom of the ocean, breathing air through a hose,
Right.
and that's where he needs to stay all the time.
That was by far one of the funniest things I had seen in a long time.
Believe me, I've had some characters come through, but yeah, he was right at the top of the list. Him and probably Steve Rydell. Steve Rydell is another
Oh, gosh.
authentic,
Yeah.
flaming nutcase of the lowest order.
And now, Vernon, now this guy here, he'd be a good dredger for you. He
Oh,
loves
yeah?
the dredge. He loves the dredge.
All right. Well, he knows how to get a plane ticket to Nome. Tell him to come on up.
He was just up there last year.
Oh, really?
No, early this year.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh.
You can.
Well, yeah, if you get back up there, look me up. We'll take you out.
Works for me. Hey, Bryan, did you do any beach mining?
No. I was gonna do some beach mining, but Vernon said he had a 4-inch dredge. I'm like, oh, you got a little dredge?
Oh, okay, well, yeah, there you go.
Taking that instead of the beach mining. And then me and Gary, we took it out. Oh, geez, where we go? 20 miles out of Nome. We found a nice little creek, and on our days off when we had some bad weather, we took the little dredge out there, and Gary was one of Gary's buddy has a nice claim out there, and he let us come on. And so when we weren't dredging on the big dredge, we went dredging on the little dredge.
Yeah, well, hey, if that's your downtime, it works.
Hey, I'll tell
Okay.
you,
We'd have been better off. I think you guys would. I think
When I
we'd have been better off.
did for a living was beach mine. And yeah, I did pretty good. It kept me going.
That's what I was going to say. We'd have been better off. We went out to Clara Creek, but we'd have been better off if we'd have set up a beach mining operation.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
But once we get back in private conversation, I'm going to tell you about something I got going down at Cougar Rock. So
Yeah, I want to go down there.
yeah, okay, all right.
See Bryan's face light
I'll
up.
tell you about it. I'll tell you about it later.
Sweet.
But
Bryan's face lit up, didn't it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
We took a road trip down there. That's a really nice place. It's kind of far,
Yep.
but it's cool.
Well, I think I was telling you about those 3 or 4 claims that I was trying to locate over there. Well, I finally got back in touch with a guy that owns them, and he's offered them to me for a very good price. So all I got to do is find the money. And one of my daughters, she just had an insurance settlement. I was trying to con her into buying the damn thing. By the time I got the money out of her rather than vice versa.
Sure, Dad, I'll buy that.
She
Trying to
gonna
read
pick
some
it
of the
up?
chat here.
I still haven't met her.
Bryan, I don't know, man. I don't know. Would she be safe? Or no, actually, would you be safe?
Well, maybe it's the other way around. Yeah.
So Vernon, how far out off the beach can you go to find gold? How far is the furthest people have gone to find it?
Well, it's a matter of depth. You don't want to get out past 30 feet normally. I mean,
Right.
there's a couple of guys around here who dive deep, but they've got special training. They got the little wristwatch computers, but I try to keep my guys in. I don't like to get out even close to 30 feet because they'll dig a hole, and next thing you know, they're in 35 feet of depth, and then they're in the
Right.
dive tables, and they can get
Right.
injured. That's what happened to Gary. He got bent. He was out there 40 feet, and he came up too quick. And damn near died because of it. It could have been messed up forever.
Yeah.
So I like to keep them. Fortunately, on this new claim we got, we found good gold in about 26 feet.
Oh, cool.
But so that was about a half mile from the beach. And there's that line. There's that 30-foot line. There's that old beach line. Okay, it's an ancient beach line that parallels the present beach line. And it's out there at about roughly 30 feet, give or take a couple of feet on each side in depth. And it varies how far from the present beach down where we are on claim 56. It's out there. I think we were probably about a half a mile from the beach. And then once you go past that, I mean, just as a normal diver, you don't want to do it. I know guys that it's just too dangerous. You don't want to get in the water that's.
Well, I think
It's not that there's no gold out there. It's just too dangerous to go out. It's not worth the risk.
well,
right.
I think if you're gonna dredge, you should at least have basic divers training. I mean, if you're not at least that, especially if you're ocean dredging. Now, river, that stuff, you're not worried about that too much. But for going into the ocean, I think you should have at least basic divers training. If you're gonna do that.
Yeah, it would be a good idea. No doubt about it. I would agree with that. But surprisingly, not a lot of divers up here feel that way about it.
Oh well, those are death cases.
Yep.
Especially
So,
ones who use hydraulic hose for air hose.
Oh, yeah. That was crazy. And that guy, I knew him when he first got to Nome about a year or so after I did. He came up here, him and all his buddies. They came up because of the show. Show hit the air in 2011, I think it was. Well, that was our first season. Then in 2012, this place they had so many people up here. They opened up down by Dredge 6 as a campground, and it had a few hundred people there, dredgers.
Wow.
They came, and gold, that's a year it hit 1900 just on one day, and it went down to mid 1800s.
Right.
Well, they all came early in the season with dreams of getting big gold, and by the middle of August, you could have fired a cannon through that campground and not hit anybody. Steve Rydell, he had a place up on that plateau called Steve's World, and he had visions of having a commune, and everybody was gonna cook in his cooking tent, and they were gonna share everything and keep things clean, and gonna have restroom facilities and all that. it turned into such a shit pile like you wouldn't believe. You think guys are gonna wash any dishes? Forget it. That won't happen. So by the time it was over with, that campground, they came up here, they spent their money. August, it started getting cold. They all bailed. They whatever they could beg, borrow, or steal, get a plane ticket and get out of here. And a lot of them just left their gear right where it was in their tent. Their tents got all blown over. There was crap scattered from all over creation up there by Dredge 6. It took a long time to clean up that mess. But that whole communal thing that Steve got into, that turned into just a damn nightmare.
Steve.
Yeah, but anyway, I forgot where I was going with this. I don't remember now. But yeah, a lot of people come up here, but a lot of them don't stay. You know, when they find out what's involved with the process, they bail out real quick. It's definitely, you know, it takes a different breed of cat to stick with it up here.
Right.
There's not even a laundromat, so whatever clothes you have, you can't wash them. I mean, you can wash them in the ocean or something, but you can't go. There's no laundromat. There's no car wash. There's no, you know, there's nothing like that.
Well, there's soap and suds, but I mean, if soap and suds, they still wash clothes there. I know.
It's just
Just a bar.
Okay.
Trust me, we've been there.
So there's no place to wash. There's no place to wash clothes. I took my clothes down there one time. I put them in the dryer, and I guess it's some kind of a propane heated dryer. When I took it out, all the fleece clothing had melted.
Hey, that sounds like a good place.
Gary,
to
we're
start a laundromat.
we were lucky because we used Vern's. We couldn't even take a shower. We had to take a shower at Vern's and wash our clothes at Vern's. So I can even imagine people who don't have that option, you know.
So go there, open a bathhouse and a laundromat, and mind the minor.
They won't let you do it.
Yeah, I think they won't let a laundromat go because it uses too much water or something like that.
Yeah, if you do that, if you do it commercially, the city will put so many charges on you, it's not economically feasible, and that's why nobody does it because of. So yeah. So it's just having clean clothes is problematic. There's no, you know, laundromat to trot down to and wash your clothes. So.
Well, besides the Coast Guard regulations and things, what else do you guys have in a way of like paperwork or that type of thing that you got to do before you can actually get out there and dredge?
You don't have to do anything just to dredge. I mean, you're supposed to have a permit. I mean, me being a claim owner, I have to keep my claims in order and file yearly paperwork, and I have to have a permit. But for you, as just an individual that wants to go dredging, if you want to dredge on somebody else's boat, then you just, you know, make your appearance and say, "Send me in, coach," and away you go. If you want to have your own small dredge, like a 6-inch dredge or even an 8 on the East Wreck area, and just dive in the dredge in the wreck area, you don't have to have a permit. The regulations are not that onerous. Generally speaking, you can still do it without a whole bunch of bullshit, but they have put a lot more regulations on it since the show started up than were in place before. And those regs drove a lot of dredges out. At one time, the Coast Guard came in and put all these regulations on dredges. You had to have red, white, red lights, 6 feet apart. Some of these dredges weren't even 18 feet long. They went down 18 feet of light sticking up in the air. And they wanted you to be lighted and equipped just like a damn ocean-going dredge, ocean-going harbor dredge would be. And but they finally relented on that, although we still have to have the red, white, red. Now they only have to be like 3 feet apart instead of 6 feet apart. I'm used to dealing with regulations. I've dealt with the Coast Guard all my professional life. So for me, it's fairly easy, but a lot of other people, they just, once you hit them with a flurry or a snarl of regulations, they just curl up in a ball and they're done. They can't deal with it. And I hate dealing with it, but you know, you got to if you want to do business.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, Gary, you were telling us about your experience. Did you tell us how you got to Alaska?
Yeah, I actually told you how I got to Alaska. I just decided one after I got a season done. I just my brother told me to go to Alaska, and I said okay. So so I got a plane ticket and a backpack, and I flew there and got off the plane and didn't know nothing about Alaska. Didn't know, I knew that they dredged there, but got off with a backpack and about $100 in my pocket. Went down to the beach, and then I set up, my tent on the beach, and then I just went back to the harbor and started talking to everybody and told them my experience. And eventually, I picked up a job on one of the biggest dredges in Nome, a 14-inch suction dredge, which is the biggest one in Nome, actually, for a suction dredge, and then just went from there. But even though I got on the dredge, it took us the weather was so bad that it took me a month and a half before I even made my first dive on it. So I was there for 2.5 months before I made any money at all. And actually, after I did the 4 dives, it took me another month to do 4 dives or 5 dives, 6 dives, something right in there. And then it took me another month to get the money. So
but the thing about it, Gary, his grandpa was up here in Nome a long time ago during the gold rush, and there's a whole contingent of Simpsons running around. He got more damn cousins and relatives up there than they even knew about it. Look in the phone book, they get like 2 pages of Simpsons. So I guess his old granddad wasn't just doing gold mining when he was up here. but they like Gary. They like Gary up here. He's got the right name, Oh, you're Gary Simpson. Oh yeah, I know it. Yeah. Well, that's my cousin, But this was he already had the path laid out for him.
I was just gonna say he didn't have it as hard as like most people then, because he already had family there to take him.
I didn't know anybody up there when I got there. All I know is that my great uncle or whatever he was, he in the 1800s he opened a mining store there, and then he married a native woman, and then they had kids, I guess. So he's a Simpson. So I went up there, but I never found this out until later on after I got established there that there's a bunch of Simpsons in the town, and we could be related. We're not, I'm not doing no DNA.
Yeah, well, it could be my ass. But some of those guys are pretty cute. Gary. I mean, you could claim them as cousins, but second cousins, okay?
I know
That's wrong, Bernie. That's wrong.
He had to ask a couple of them the name before he sat down next to him.
Yeah. But yeah, I do know a couple of girls that are their last name Simpson, and they're cute girls, but they're probably about the 2 or 3 only cute girls in Nome. Oh, I should say that. A lot of Nome people might be watching this.
But one of the things I thought was really interesting, because from the show standpoint, we may think it's far away, but the Pomeranke's inland operation is really not that far from Nome proper. We drove through it going to AKU, and it was going to Augie's place, and I was just like, wow, this is not far at all. What's going on?
Yeah, it's only a couple miles out of the town there, and I don't know. I think they have another place on Beam Road. Vernon would know more, but I'm not sure if they're going to start working over there or something.
So one of the premises on this show is that there's a lot of different forms of treasure hunting, gold mining, metal detecting, just bottle dump hunting. All those different, arrowhead hunting. Those different treasure hunting things. Have you ever done anything else other than gold mine? Have you ever looking for Captain Kidd's treasure. I know we all did when we were younger.
I think that would be Captain Cook's, but okay.
Either one. I take either. Gary, you ever do any stuff like that, or think about maybe looking for buried treasure or anything?
I've done it all. Just this weekend, me and my brother went up and used a new metal detector. I believe it's the Garrett. He just bought it. Hell of a good metal. What is it? It's the Garrett ATX.
Yep.
Underwater. Man, that thing's a hell of a metal detector. I've used a lot of them up there, and we picked up on just hot rocks, constantly going off on hot rocks, everything. But this time, we rooted them out, and we did really well. That's on the claim that we found all the nuggets, the 300 ounces and the 3-ounce nuggets.
Nice.
Areas that I mean, I'm not just, I don't want to put them down, but areas that we went over with Mine Lab and all these other ones, and we didn't pick it up, we actually picked up and found nuggets. So, I mean, it's a hell of a product, but yeah, we do it all. I mean, like I said, I've been doing it for 40 years, so I've done everything. I mean, we've hydraulics. I've basically, pretty much done everything there is to do, and now I'm working the oceans and trying to find treasure under there too. So,
so
that was
what do you think after this adventure?
This will be my final adventure. I've got some really good spots that I want to set up some pretty big operations up in California on rivers right up above where we found all the gold, all the big gold.
Nice.
There's some really deep holes that we're going to get into, but we've been putting it off because they get 30 foot deep to just the overburden. And we know there's going to be a lot of rocks that we can't see down in these deep holes, but we know there's a lot of gold in there. We're just we're getting set up and prepared to go into them, and yeah, we're going to do really well in those.
Nice.
Did we lose Vernon?
I think you did. He dropped off. I haven't seen him come back.
Looks
So.
like it. Thomas got him mad.
Oh, what did I do?
Come back, Vernon.
His battery probably died or something.
No, that could be,
the
but
internet Nome isn't that reliable, man. I'll tell you that.
No.
Gary and Doris has another question.
No, man, because it cuts off just on this. You just never know. I mean, when it's going to be good and when it's going to be bad.
Right.
I don't know if it has to do with the Aurora or whatever up there, but it just cuts off. For no reason.
You have Verizon. Your phone. I had Verizon. My phone didn't work at all. I could never make a phone call. I had an AT&T Wi-Fi card in a MoFi hotspot, and I just barely got a trickle of internet.
That's another thing. If you're going to Nome, make sure you have AT&T internet, because anything else just doesn't work. I think
it's a trickle. I mean, I couldn't watch YouTube videos because it would just circle and circle. You watch like 10 seconds circle.
AT&T. No.
They do have another brand. I think it's GCI. GCI worked pretty good, I think. But I think it's a local company. So you have to, as soon as you get to Nome, you got to go there and buy a phone and hook up with all their network stuff, and then that will work kind of.
Miss Laurel.
Bryan, Gary and Doris Larson has the question: is Sean Pomeranke truly a good gold finder the way the show depicts?
I'll let Gary answer that one.
Uh-oh.
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, I've only been up there this summer, so only 3 months. So, I don't know too much, but I mean, I saw the Christine go out maybe 2 or 3 times in that time period. But I think Sean was working on a much bigger project for most of the summer.
Their inland, his dad's inland project.
What dredge was he working on, Bryan?
Well, the Christine Rose,
No, he bought the other one. He went in partnership.
No, but we probably shouldn't spoil everything for everyone.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
I don't know. I saw the Christine Rose go out maybe 2 or 3 times. When Sean was on it, and they would go out for 2 or 3 days and come back, and that's about all I saw all summer.
Okay, so really, you don't know.
No, I'll tell you one thing. They do really good in their inland mine. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, he might have been doing a lot of inland mining this year. I'm not really sure.
Well, yeah, the old man has that placer mine inland a bit. So
yeah, well, I think the question though is Is he really as good a gold finder as the show proclaims?
That's
I
the
mean, I
question.
couldn't really
Hey,
answer that because
Hey, Jesse, you
I'm
see
not
they
on this
danced
boat.
around that.
Yeah.
They
I'm
tap
sure-
danced well around that question.
Here's the answer to that. I'm sure he is, but he might find he doesn't. I mean, he could find gold in the ocean. He could find it on the inland mine. We're just not too sure where he really
Right. I
finds
mean,
it.
we're not on
Uh,
this boat, so I can't answer that. You know, I'm sure he's a really good dredger and miner and excavator worker, and
Yeah, he
I
does
know he
that.
finds gold, obviously, but
Yeah.
I can't answer how if the TV really makes him look much better than he really is. I just don't know.
Okay. Down east detecting and prospecting, our buddy Bob Drake. What's the best gold ounce per hour Vernon had ever dredged in Nome, Gary? You might know this since you've been with him a while.
Yeah, I know. I know what the answer is to this, and it was this year whenever I was down. I literally was averaging, I believe, close to 2 ounces an hour.
wow.
Yeah, that one spot, Gary was hitting it real. I mean, even on the TV, because the diver has on his helmet there's a camera that we can see on board, and Gary was just flipping out. He's like, "Look at all this gold!" And he's pointing. All you see is his fingers pointing all these pieces of gold. I'm like, "Holy shit, this is crazy!" And I was just up top watching this, and yeah, he was on some really, really good stuff.
Pan out your box, you clean it, and you get down to the end, and you twirl it. Well, was continuously coming off the clay, which is about 6 inches of material, maybe 10 inches of material, and then there's hard clay coming out of that. As I just held the nozzle back, and I could see gold pouring off of it into the nozzle.
Wow.
So yeah, it was about 2 ounces an hour. That's a place we deemed super gold.
Super gold.
That's what we called it.
And then there's super gold too.
Super gold too. Yeah, that's what that.
We had a couple good spots. I mean, it's not all the time like that. You'll be in some when you're down there dredging, just all of a sudden you'll just go bang like out of the blue because there's no like difference on the bottom of the ocean. It's just random. I don't know why or how, but you'll be dredging along and all of a sudden just all this gold just starts falling down and you'll watch it like and you're taking the nozzle and you stick it in there. You're just seeing all this gold go up and it'll be like that for like an hour, and then all of a sudden it'll just die out and then you go back to the right. To try to find it again, and I'll be dredging along trying to find it, and all of a sudden, boom, you just get ripped off. I mean, you'll be holding onto the nozzle, and all of a sudden you just be ripped right off your spot like 100 feet. Because the wind will change, especially in the afternoon. So you'll be down there dredging along, and you get ripped off your spot. The boat swings, and you'll be off that good spot, and you just can't get back to it because the boat swung the other way. And we even had 3 anchors out trying to hold the boat where it was, and when those afternoon winds kick up, it'll just rip you right off your spots.
They literally on this year's show, they got pictures of a video of me where the boat would take off. I would jump up on top of the nozzle, and the nozzle would be being pulled so fast that I would be off the dirt and just standing on the nozzle holding on to it while the boat's being moved.
That's yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. That time the TV diver was down there and got to film all that. So I hope he puts it on. That was really cool.
I see our
Plus,
buddy
the TV
Polly.
diver too. They won't tell you that they're there sometimes. So sometimes you'll just be working along, and then you go to take a rock, and you look over to your right, and there's like this big thing right next to you with this big huge camera. Like oh, you don't know what it is. So one guy, the CJ guy, he freaked out one time because the same thing. He turned to his right, and there was this big creature thing, and you're like, oh my god. And one time I had a rock, and so they don't tell you they're there to sneak up on you. So I had this pretty big rock, and I went to bang it to the right and slammed right into that camera. And that camera must have been like $100,000 easy. It was like one of those big deep water freaking special discovery cameras, and I just nailed that thing.
Bryan, Pioneer Polly's got a question. Were you ever tempted to put your hand in front of the dredge?
Oh yeah, I got my hand stuck up a lot. I like those. I lay down right on the hose. That's how I like to work. Kind of like I'll actually wrap my back legs around the hose, and kind of like lay right on top of the hose, and I'll take both hands.
Right.
And I can move a rock by it sucking. But sometimes I go to put my hand, grab a rock, and my hand gets sucked up, and you get it off, and then you just keep working. I mean, It happens.
Your
I'm sure it's
nozzle
something
has
you can-
a flap on it to release suction, right?
Yeah. There was a couple times my hand's like in the dredge, and you got to open the flap and then take your hand out.
Good,
Oh yeah, I
good
got my
thing
hand
it
sucked up
didn't.
at least 10 or 15 times. It's embarrassing. I hope they don't show it on TV.
How many times have it got smacked by a rock?
Oh yeah.
I didn't have any.
Hey, I worked a 14-inch dredge. A 14-inch dredge will literally pull your whole body into it. I mean, when
I
you
believe it.
lift it with buoys, you lift the nozzle. You've got to work it back and forth like a lawnmower. I've had times when my hand got pulled in there, and I mean, it literally rips your gloves off and almost rips the suit off your arm. I mean, that's
Yikes.
I can't even imagine.
If you get put in there, you got to pull the flap. If you can't pull the flap, if your head or your body gets in there to where you can't pull the flap, you're screwed. So yeah.
Oh yeah, one guy in Nome died a few years ago because he was on a 10-inch and somehow he got his chest stuck on the hose or something and it ripped his mask off and he died. They found him dead. He was dead still on the nozzle. Yeah, it was only like a few years ago.
We have a request from a fan of yours, Bryan. Our friend, Mr. Lodak, Jaron Wheeler. Bryan, can I have your autograph?
Yeah, sure. He's got to win this bag of payday here, and I'll sign it for him.
Well, we're like 5 minutes away from our normal time, ready to give it away.
Oh wow!
Yeah, however you want to do it. I don't know how much is in here, but what this is on my YouTube channel. There's a video called "Floor Sweeping the Floor of the Gold Chip" or something like that. And whatever was in that video, whatever's in that pan, all I did was put it in this bag here and then send it back with I sent home a whole bunch of Nome beach sand, so I just dropped this bag right in there. So whatever's in on that video is what's in here. I'm not sure. I mean, it looks more like a lot of gold on the video, but it's probably, I don't know, maybe a quarter gram, half gram, maybe it was a gram. I don't even know. I just threw it in the bag and sent it home. I haven't even looked at it. So I don't know how much it was, but if you look at the video, that's exactly what's in there. It's not a huge amount, maybe.
Well, I'm sure they won't care, Bryan.
You mean to tell me, Bryan, it wasn't an ounce?
No, it might be. I don't know. But no, it's more for just cool reasons. It's real gold that came off the gold chip, so it'll be cool. I hope like a fan gets it.
Right. Well,
I mean, it's not gold you would sell. I mean, I hope someone keeps it and just shows it off. Oh, this is from Bering Sea Gold. It's cool.
That's off the Wild Ranger.
Off the Wild Ranger floor, that's a real deal.
Well,
if you want to see the video, it's on my YouTube channel, American Gold Prospectors. You can just go there and see the video. Steve Rydell actually showed up on that video too. It was pretty cool. He happened to be driving by and we're showing him. It was
and our camera.
Oh yeah, JJ, our camera guy showed up. None of them were very thrilled about the amount of gold we got, but it was a funny video.
Well, the one thing I noticed about when you were showing everybody the gold, they're going, yeah,
because everyone's there used to seeing like 20, 30, 40 ounces at a time.
Right,
They're
looking at it.
And here we are, we're all excited with this little tiny. They're like, whatever,
Yeah, whatever. So, how's it going there, Ed? Are we getting the numbers up there? No numbers.
The last numbers I saw were like 20 something, so there's 50 in here, so you all better get your fingers to walking and do some talking in the chat room.
Oh, we're supposed to be putting numbers.
Emojis.
No, you're supposed to be chatting.
No,
it's supposed to be chatting.
Chat.
Oh.
I don't care what you put in there.
Oh.
You have to be active in the chat room.
Although people put
everyone in there.
Although people that are posting numbers, they're not eligible. That quit. Okay.
All right, we have 29 now. So get the fingers of work in.
Yeah, you're in, Thomas.
Let me see. We have Bryan. You can't be in there.
Sure he can. Sure he can.
Win his own gold.
Yeah, give him a chance to take his own gold back.
We have the AU Migos and Benzo and BMX Don, Dano the Mano, David Via, and Donald G, Bob Drake, Down East Detecting, ECP, GoPro Unlimited HD, Heavy Meadow, Jason Keith, Jeremy Wilker, ToledoJess, Jim Am, Joe, I always mess up Joe's name. John Wolf, JP Lawn and more, Klondike, Mike, Mark Miller, Moto Mining, Mr. Lasek. Thanks for the super chat, Bob.
Good luck, everybody.
34. Come on, people. Type emojis. I don't give a flying flip. If you want a chance, you can't lurk. Lurking's
Right
fine.
now.
That's fine. I get the view. I get the watch time. But if you want to win,
Gotta write something in the chat.
That's what it takes.
Oh, and then you get a sticker too.
You said Mark Miller, right?
Is that a plug?
Mark Miller.
Interesting thing about that guy. I had a giveaway of those gold claw pans. His comment was he didn't want any one of those newfangled pans.
Uh-oh.
And he won.
And he won. Yes.
Wait,
Mark, I'll
let me
tell
ask
you this.
then.
I love my Gold Claw.
Did he take it?
Yeah, he took it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
He took it, all right.
You know, I won some too somewhere. I forget where, but I got a whole stack of them, and I haven't had a chance to even try them yet.
Ray
Well, try 'em.
Rusa, thanks for the super chat. Sorry.
So Gary, do you have a YouTube channel or anything? Do you have
No,
social media? No?
I'm not sure. I'm thinking about getting one.
Yeah, you got to get one.
Why
For
not?
your California adventures.
Well, I'm gonna have to have Bryan help me design it, or
Oh, yeah, easy.
however you do it. I
Look
don't know nothing about that stuff.
He's a good one. He's a good one to help you out.
Yeah,
We're gonna
Bryan.
hook up and accidentally have the dredge fall into California there.
Just
Yeah.
say you're in Idaho or Ohio.
We're gonna be in Idaho.
Bryan's
I
gonna come visit me here in California, and we're gonna go do some real prospecting.
We're gonna be in Maine, and we'll make some videos over right.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah,
Some
yeah.
palm trees in the
I
background and stuff, but we'll be in Maine.
I
don't
wink,
know
wink.
what name.
I
I'm gonna
wink,
go
wink.
see Big Nugget Star.
All
Hey,
right,
Thomas, how'd you like the AKU camp?
we have 44 in
How did
here.
you like the AKU camp? Did you high bank or metal detector?
Yes to all.
Oh, you did good.
I
Did you go
did.
out with Mike Slater?
Yep, went out with Mike. Yep, me and Mike.
Yeah, Mike's awesome with that metal detector.
Oh God, is he? Yes, he was great. I mean, matter of fact, he was the one who gave me. He was showing me all the tips about the monster and all that stuff. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he's a good teacher.
I found some. I found my first nuggets. So yeah.
First nuggets. Did
All
you say-
right, in 1 minute, we're going to
Yeah,
drive
nuggets
talk,
now.
people. We have
Not huge.
44 eligible.
Here's my first nuggets.
Ooh,
They
nice.
can't see out
Nice.
there. Wait, Jesse,
Like
wait.
Alec?
Out in
Wait.
California, those are pickers.
Now you can show it to the audience.
There you go.
Yeah,
nice one.
Jesse found those Northern California.
Yep, my first nuggets
Yep.
We're at
that I found with a monster, gold monster
yeah.
1000.
No Tellum Creek.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
an
just picked one
that's an
up,
awesome machine.
last year. I haven't really had too much of a chance to use it, but I did
Oh,
find a
I
half
didn't
reamer up
switch
in,
it over.
the Judd
Show
Tucker's
him
camp.
again, Jesse.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used mine in Alaska. So yeah, that's where I first got the really good practice with the machine. Good machine.
Yeah, they're good. I
All right.
just need more training on it. Hopefully Bill Southern will teach me how to use it a little bit better.
All right, here it is, Bryan. Let's
All right.
see who wins this schnizzle. All right, give me a
Right,
countdown, everybody. Give me a countdown.
2, 1, go!
Bob McCoy.
Oh,
Oh,
Bob McCoy.
McCoy.
Bob McCoy.
McCoy
Sweet.
gets all the tags.
Oh, Bob's
Yeah,
not
have
here.
him, have him
Yeah,
send
yeah.
you his
Hey,
address.
Wayne, Deb.
Send it to me.
Next, he's not here. Next,
Bob McCoy, are you here? You have 1 minute to reply. Tag my name. Tag my name at flashing your pen. Oh, he's here.
Hey, I see him. I
Hey,
see
what's
him.
up?
He's there.
All right, all right. Bob,
Jerry's in the house.
Information to you or me or whatever.
Good
yeah,
job,
Bob
Bob.
McCoy on Facebook, don't you, Brian?
Probably.
I do.
I do
I don't
too. We'll
Oh,
get
okay.
you his address. Bob,
Yeah.
message me and I'll get it to Brian. I just realized I've been watching the feed for 20 minutes.
Oh,
Very good,
Yeah, that
Polly.
sometimes.
Give me that watch time, buddy.
Yes, well, sometimes you join in and you forget to hit the live button, and I'll be watching. I'm like responding to things in the chat, and people are like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah,
Right.
make sure that
Like 10 or
next
15
to the
minutes
live
behind,
button
you know?
it's red.
Oh shit, I'm not live either.
Yeah, that's what I just did. That I was like, why am I seeing this? I just saw this.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't
Yeah,
see
that's
the little red light
fine.
next to the live button, you're not live.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a good show. Good show.
Yeah, I had a really good time. Thank you,
Glad Vernon,
everyone,
I
for
think his battery
joining
must have
us.
died or internet gave up, but yeah, it was.
Something was.
Good time.
It was really fast, and he seemed like he was having a good time. It's probably a phone Nome thing,
Yeah, no.
the
Well,
Nome phone.
tell Vernon next time you talk to him, it was great to see him and got a chance to talk to him, and hopefully come back another time and
Yeah,
do it
definitely.
again, you know?
Yeah,
It's
for
been
sure.
fun.
Yes,
Hey,
it was fun.
official
We
gold
see
digger.
you all the time, Brian.
He's
He's just part of the family.
Yeah, he is. Next
I'm-
week's our Christmas
He don't serve him
special,
coffee anymore. He's got to
everybody.
get up and get it himself.
Yeah, I usually make coffee. He was happy. I usually, I usually got food. He would buy all the food, which is great because in Nome, geez, he would give me like $300 in cash. He's like, "Oh, go get some food." I'm like, "Oh, sweet, I'll cook it if you buy it." Yeah, we had a pretty good deal. But that $300, man, bought a couple steaks and like a gallon of milk, and that was about it.
That's about it.
Brian,
Yes.
Brian wants to go into overtime, Jesse. You know,
I'm seeing that.
Oh no, you
I'm
can
trying.
I'm sorry.
Just stay put for a little while, Brian. Everybody, thank you very much for joining us. Next week is our Open Line Tuesday Christmas special. I hope a bunch of you are here. Call in. Supposedly, I can have 100 people in Zoom at one time. So let's try to break an all-time record this coming Tuesday. The week after that, on the 29th, we're having Wayne Tuttle from Legends of the Superstitions that was on History Channel. You can find him at YouTube channel of the same name here. And that's all I'm going to tell you for advanced shows. But we got a good lineup coming. Say what, Jesse?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Well, everybody, thanks again for joining us. I had a great time. I hope you all did too. And till next time, may you always have a flash in your pan.
And you know what he's going to say next.
It happens. Ask Thomas. Ask Brian. Ask Smith's
Ask
Gold. Two Toes. Jesse. It happens. Maybe one day too. We'll meet you on the river. But you know what? We're out of here.
Hey guys, thanks for letting me in.
You're welcome, Thomas. Gary Bale.
Brian, Brian, we still gotta link up now.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Later. Have a good time.
Tell Gary we
See you
said
next
bye.
Same place, same time next week.
Same Flash channel.
You bet.